It's like after you get married, right guys? A pretty lady walks by and you don't even notice her. What is going on, everybody? I'm Adam Johnson, and this is Cover Band Confidential. First off, I want to thank all of our new followers and fans. If this is your first time checking out our content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. We post new videos here every single Friday, along with some fun shorts in between. Now this week, I'm talking mostly to guitarists. As a guitar player myself, I have obsessed over gear my entire career. It feels like every few months, something new comes out, and all of a sudden, you're in the weeds going through, trying to do research on how what day you're making is better than what you've already got. And the funny thing is that for the past few years, I really haven't had that feeling much at all. It's like after you get married, right guys? A pretty lady walks by and you don't even notice her. And it's because of something that I changed in my rig that almost completely killed my gear lust. Okay, story time. When I was playing original music full time, I got one of the coolest things a guitar player could ever get. A gear endorsement! After our first EP was released, I was able to secure a deal with an amazing amp company. Hint, it rhymes with nothing. And a pedal board company. High on the fumes of my newfound status, I bought a half-stack amp and the biggest pedal board they made. I was loud and I looked cool as f***. Seriously though, look at the footage from one of our music videos. It was very of its time. Now, freshly geared out, we got in the van and started touring. Every show, load in up a flight of stairs or a shady freight elevator. Do the stage, more steps, play the gig, load out, rinse, repeat. And in my mid-20s, I started developing back problems. It was the weirdest thing. I guess lifting heavy things in super tight pants and sleeping on floors and van seats is bad for your spine. Anywho, after that band folded, I'm pretty sure my 412 cab lived in the trunk of my car for almost a year. Once I got back into playing again and I started doing cover band gigs, I realized that I didn't need a rig that big anymore. I was playing in smaller venues and I didn't have a trailer to put my stack in. Once we started playing private events, it got even more obnoxious. Over time, my rig went from a 4x12 to a 2x12 to a 1x12, and then I stopped carrying an amp altogether. What I realized is that playing private events in ballrooms and event spaces is not conducive to what we consider traditional live sound. The amps always looked out of place and never sounded the way I wanted them to. The reflections in the room mixed with the vocals and made everything sound muddy. Also, as the band leader, I was carrying the PA, so it became a huge issue to have to carry PA, cables, microphones, not to mention an amp, a cab, and a pedal board. Now at this point, I've been using in-ear monitors for years. We had built an in-ear rig for the band itself. I didn't need the stage volume, and to be honest, it just became a huge hassle. Then the Helix LT was released. For those of you who may not be familiar, the LT was the cheaper version of the flagship Helix by Line 6, which is basically an amp modeler. It had everything I needed for the gigs that I was doing, which was corporate bands, churches, hired gun stuff, studio work, and I was able to get it at under $1,000 thanks to a coupon from Guitar Center. And I funded that by selling the pedals off of my pedal board I wasn't going to be using anyway. As you can see, I still have my amps, but I don't worry about blown tubes or bad cables anymore. My load in and my load out are now a single trip, and my guitar sounds consistent and awesome every single show. Now the amp simulator market is full of great products from companies like Fractal, Headrush, Kemper. They all sound amazing and on the whole are cheaper than any boutique amp that they emulate. The benefits outweigh the cost significantly in my opinion. Now don't get me wrong, I love the feel and the sound of a live amp behind me, but not as much as I love having a single piece of gear that does all of the things that I need it to that weighs less than my combo amp did. Now over time, I've actually downsized even further to one of the Line 6 HX Stomps. My guitar rig went from a 60-pound rolling road case to a shoulder bag that weighs less than 5 pounds. It's got all of the sounds that I need from my full-size Helix, but it's got the form factor that's more conducive to my primary gig as a lead vocalist who plays guitar, and not just as a hired gun. Now, I still have the full-size Helix for those kinds of gigs, but for 80 to 90% of the gigs that I do, the HX Stomp is perfect. If you are on the fence about amp modeling, I feel like now is the time to give it a fair shot. Your hearing and your back will thank you. Also, it may help you make more money because you'll be able to do gigs you weren't able to do before. Guys, once again, thanks for tuning in. If you are enjoying our content, please like and subscribe. We post new videos here every single Friday. Also, it's officially fall and we now have hoodies in our merch store. Go check those out and grab one before it really starts to cool down. Have an awesome week and we will see you next time.